Before we explore the mystery, we need to get to know Cindy because she was more than a missing person. She was a student, a friend, someone with hopes and plans. Born on February 25, 1980 in South Korea, Cindy, whose full name was Hyun-jong Cindy Song, moved to the United States in the mid-1990s to live with relatives in Virginia. Eventually, she enrolled at Pennsylvania State University, Penn State, majoring in integrative arts. At 21 years old in late 2001, she was in the final stretch of her college career, scheduled to graduate in spring 2002. She worked 2 part-time jobs, held membership in student clubs, and friends described her as hardworking, responsible, and lively. She lived in the 300 block of West Clinton Avenue at the State College Park Apartments, in the college town of State College, Pennsylvania. On her last night, she dressed up for a Halloween party with friends. According to many sources, she wore a bunny costume, rabbit ears, a fluffy tail, a white tennis skirt, a playful touch that mirrored her upbeat spirit. Her friends say that evening she was in good spirits. In fact, the details of her costume and her outgoing nature have come to stand out in the narrative because they contrast so sharply with what happened next. The night of October 31st, Halloween 2001, took a tragic turn for Cindy. Let's walk through the timeline. According to available records, Cindy and 2 friends, often named as Stacy Paik and Lisa Kim, attended a Halloween party at a local club in downtown State College, reportedly the venue known as Players Nightclub, later Indigo, in the 100 block of West College Avenue. They left around 2 a.m. on November 1st, after the club closed. The friends then went to a friend's apartment where they hung out for some time, according to the timeline. At approximately 4 a.m., Cindy was dropped off outside her apartment complex. Her friends watched her walk inside. What makes this moment chilling is that it appears entirely routine. A responsible group of friends, a safe drop-off in a college town they knew well. Yet that was the last confirmed sighting of Cindy. She never made another verified appearance. When her roommate returned to the apartment later, things looked normal, but also off. Cindy's backpack was by the door. Her cell phone was in its usual spot. Even her false eyelashes, part of the costume, were found in the apartment, which suggests she had at least started to settle in after being dropped off. But a number of crucial items were missing. Her purse that contained her driver's license, credit cards, and keys was gone. The costume itself, the rabbit ears and tail, were also missing in some accounts. There were no signs of forced entry, no overturned furniture, no immediate evidence of struggle. Her cell phone records show no outgoing or incoming calls after that night, and her credit cards show no activity after her disappearance. Investigators deemed it unlikely she walked away voluntarily, in part because of these anomalies and in part because of her personal plans ahead. One early tip came from Philadelphia. A witness claimed to have seen a young woman matching Cindy's description being forced into a vehicle in the Chinatown area. But that lead ultimately fizzled due to inconsistent statements. In short, at 4 a.m., a young woman is dropped off at home after a party. She walks inside. She disappears. Her phone stays silent. Her purse and ID vanish. No struggle is visible. There are more questions than answers. From the moment Cindy was reported missing on November 4th, 2001, investigations were launched, but faced significant challenges from day one. The lead time: Cindy was last seen early November 1st, and her friends reported her missing 3 days later. That's a gap during which evidence might decay. Inside the apartment, investigators found her backpack, phone, and false eyelashes, but missing her purse, keys, and costume. No sign of forced entry, according to one in-depth review. Her cell phone records showed no incoming or outgoing calls since she was last seen. In searching her apartment, police found the bunny costume was not found. Bloodhound scent teams were used in the surrounding area, including possible pathways to a 24-hour supermarket she frequented. Some theories suggested she may have left willingly to grab something and been abducted en route, but no definitive scent trail. Investigators considered alternate scenarios, voluntary disappearance, abduction just outside the apartment, or someone gaining access inside. But given her grades, jobs, and future plans tickets to a concert, computer order, they judged a voluntary vanishing unlikely. Despite publicity locally and national interest from missing persons databases, after the early flurry, the trail cooled. In 2013, investigators with the assistance of the FBI obtained DNA samples from Cindy's biological parents to compare with unidentified remains in other cases, but no match emerged. As one retrospective puts it, her case joins the lexicon of local legend in State College, one of those crimes that haunt a college town precisely because it seems so out of place in a safe environment. And then a dark new twist. To understand the speculation around Cindy's disappearance, we need to look at the shadow figure of Hugo Marcus Selensky, a convicted murderer with a gruesome reputation, whose name comes up in connection with Cindy's case, though not conclusively. Selensky's history is chilling. Originally a bank robber and car thief, he served prison time, then became associated with a string of violent crimes in northeastern Pennsylvania. A key moment. In 23, authorities searched his home in Kingston Township, Luzerne County, about 100-plus miles north of State College, and uncovered shallow graves in his backyard. Among the remains were those of his known victim, Michael Jason Kurkowski Jr., and his girlfriend Tammy Fassett. Reports indicate up to 10-12 sets of remains may have been found, or suspected, on his property. Selensky was convicted in 2006 for abuse of a corpse in the Kurkowski case, later retried due to jury tampering, and in 2015 convicted of murder for that case and sentenced to life in prison. In short, this is a man capable of terror, body disposal, and hiding victims. Which begs the question, could he have been involved in Cindy's disappearance? The alleged connection, Selensky and Cindy. Here we navigate between possibility and proof, examining why some investigators and commentators believe a link exists between Selensky and Cindy, and why it remains speculation. The claims. An informant, Paul Weekly, claimed that Selensky and an accomplice, Michael Kurkowski, abducted Cindy in State College on Halloween night of 2001. According to Weekly's account, they mistook her for a prostitute because she was wearing a bunny costume. They kidnapped her, held her in a walk-in safe or vault at Kurkowski's property, and later killed her. Weekly claimed that Cindy's body was buried on Selensky's property. Some versions say that Kurkowski kept Cindy's bunny ears as a trophy, and Selensky killed him as a result. What strengthens the theory? Selensky's known capacity for body disposal and burial in remote property. The informant's role, Weekly cooperated with authorities, helped locate other graves. The timeline coincides in a loose way with Cindy's disappearance 2001 and Selensky's criminal activity. The costume detail bunny ears may arguably act as a signature or trophy. What weakens it? What's missing? No physical evidence links Cindy's body to Selensky's property. Investigators have not located her remains among the bodies found at his home. Weekly's reliability is questioned. He did provide true information regarding other murders, but his details about Cindy have inconsistencies. Some say that he searched the internet for Cindy's case prior to providing his tip, which raises the possibility of fabrication. The geographic distance. State College to Luzerne County is a long drive, though not impossible, but it raises questions about logistics of abduction, transport, and concealment. The lack of any DNA match between Cindy's parents and remains discovered on Selensky's property to the public's knowledge. No known murder charge has been filed linking Selensky to Cindy. The case remains open. Investigative statements. In 2009, a local article noted, "The discovery of bodies raises new questions about the disappearance of a Penn State student. The case of the unidentified bodies is in the hands of Luzerne County investigators." Most official commentary remains cautious. They acknowledge Selensky as a person of interest, but say no conclusive link has been established. So, what we have here is a chilling candidate, but one without the smoking gun. Probable scenarios and hypotheses. Having laid out the facts, we now turn to possible scenarios and evaluate what appears most plausible and where the gaps remain. Scenario A. Cindy was abducted in the apartment building or immediately outside by someone who gained access. Strengths? Her door was locked from inside, or at least no forced entry was found. She may have left briefly to go to the 24-hour supermarket she frequented. Investigators found no scent trail. She had no phone activity and cards were unused. This suggests she didn't vanish voluntarily. Weaknesses? This scenario leaves the perpetrator unknown. The lack of CCTV or witness is problematic. The person could have been someone she knew. Scenario B. Cindy left her apartment briefly, for example, to grab a snack, and was abducted outside. Strengths. Evidence shows she often made late-night trips. Investigators found no record of her entering the nearby 24-hour store. The lack of scent trail suggests abduction quickly after leaving. Weaknesses. It does not specify the identity of the abductor, nor explain why the purse aid would be missing unless someone deliberately took them. Scenario C. Cindy's disappearance is linked to Selensky and Kurkowski in the manner described by Weekly. Strengths. The informant's story includes specific details Bunny Ears Trophy and Selensky's property had confirmed bodies buried. Capability exists. If true, it would explain why no remains found on site, yet they may be elsewhere, and why minimal trail exists transport out of county. Weaknesses. No physical evidence. The informant's credibility is circumspect. Extra logistical and temporal questions, moving a body from State College to Luzerne County, burying or burning it. Also, the costume details could be misremembered or embellished. Scenario D. Cindy walked away voluntarily, for example, suicidal or running away. Strengths. It's possible in any missing person's case. Weaknesses. The weight of evidence argues against voluntary disappearance. Her life was full of plans. She had tickets to a concert, a computer ordered, friends who described her as stable. Assessing probability. Based on available evidence, scenarios A or B abduction near her apartment or en route to store seem most plausible. The link to Selensky remains speculative, but cannot be completely dismissed. At present, scenario C has the allure of explanation, but lacks substantiation. Key unanswered questions. Where is Cindy's body if deceased? If it's buried hidden, in what location and why hasn't it been found? Did she ever leave the apartment area after 4 a.m., or was she taken inside? Did someone in her building or a visitor gain access? What happened to her purse, Idaho, and costume? Were they taken as trophies, as part of abduction, or disposed of? Could Selensky's graveyard property still hide remains not yet discovered, and could Cindy be among them or elsewhere by his direction? Has all feasible DNA testing been completed and remains compared globally or at least statewide? Investigating Cindy's disappearance faced and still faces a host of obstacles. Let's explore them. Time and evidence degradation. More than 20 years have passed since 2001. Memories fade. CCTV footage, if any, is likely lost. Physical evidence may have degraded or been lost. This makes gathering reliable information harder. Limited crime scene clarity. Her apartment did not present a conventional crime scene. No obvious signs of forced entry or struggle. That complicates the investigation because investigators lack a definitive location of abduction. Without a known crime scene, tracing footprints or forensic evidence is limited. Jurisdictional complexity. The disappearance happened in Center County State College, while the suspect Selensky's crimes occurred in Luzerne County. If the body was moved, you have multi-jurisdictional issues, coordination, resources, and potential evidence movement. The lead agencies may differ, memory of witnesses may differ, and institutional continuity can suffer. International dimension. Cindy was an international student from South Korea. Her family's location abroad may have slowed some communications or created logistical complications in international cooperation, though, to be fair, the FBI provided DNA assistance in 2013. Witness reliability and tip quality. The only major named tip putting Selensky in the case comes from Weekly. While helpful, it's hearsay and may be suspect given his possible motive. Other tips Philadelphia citing fizzled. Without a highly credible, corroborated witness, the investigation stalls. Resource and prioritization. Cold cases cost money, manpower, and time. After the initial push, many disappearances become low priority in agencies faced with active cases. This often leaves cases unsupported for years. Body not found, no definitive proof of death. Because Cindy's body has not been recovered and no one has been charged, investigators are dealing with a disappearance, not a homicide. That means legal thresholds and resource application differ significantly. Without a body, proving murder is harder. Potential mishandling or contamination of early evidence. Some local chatter suggests that cleaning and activity in the apartment may have disturbed possible evidence before proper forensic documentation, though this remains anecdotal. For example, one Reddit post states the family cleaned the apartment soon after arrival. All of these factors compound and mean that even though the disappearance remains active, the odds of resolution diminish with time. but they are not zero. Beyond the facts and theories, we must pause and consider the human dimension. This case is not just about crime. It's about a young life gone missing, a family left without answers, a campus community shaken. They sent a daughter abroad to study, watched her disappear, and have lived with unanswered pain ever since. The lack of closure means mourning is suspended, and life must go on around it. One article quoted a family member. What makes it even sadder is that nobody knows exactly what that tragedy was. In a college town like State College, where students feel safe, the disappearance of one of their own shook the sense of security. Many current students weren't even born when it happened, but it still reverberates. On Reddit. From Central PA here, State College is my hometown, so this case always stuck to me when I was growing up. Though this episode focuses on Cindy, part of the broader wreckage involves the known victims of Selensky Michael Kurkowski Jr., Tammy Fassett, others. Each body discovered, each family destroyed, adds to the tragedy. The connection to Cindy reminds us that the violent predator's net may have been wider than confirmed. When a disappearance goes unsolved, trust in institutions is tested. The unanswered, "Where is she?" becomes part of the story of the vulnerable, not just in State College, but across college campuses, among international students, among young women alone late at night. The wreckage includes fear, vulnerability, and what-if scenarios. So where do we stand today with Cindy's case? And what needs to happen to move things forward? Cindy's song remains missing. Her disappearance is classified as a missing persons case, not a confirmed homicide. Investigators, in collaboration with the FBI, obtained DNA from Cindy's biological parents in 2013 to compare with remains from Selensky's property and elsewhere, but no match has been publicly confirmed. Selensky remains incarcerated, serving life in prison for the murders of Kurkowski and Fassett. He is acknowledged as a person of interest in many unsolved cases, including Cindy's, but no indictment links him directly to her disappearance. Unsolved cases like Cindy's are often solved by the smallest detail. A witness remembers a voice, a smell triggers a memory, a new forensic method matches remains decades old. The wreckage of a missing person is not irreparable, it is awaiting connection, question, answer. As we draw this episode to a close, let's reflect on what Cindy Song's case tells us and what it demands of us. This isn't just about one missing woman, it's about all those who vanish, whose stories freeze in time, whose families wait. Cindy's story involves a young woman with dreams, in an environment we assume safe, who disappeared in the span of minutes and left a puzzle of loss behind. We are still left with the haunting image, bunny ears, a cottontail, walking inside her apartment at 4 a.m. Then gone. Her phone silent, her cards untouched, her life unjustly paused. In the possibility that Hugo Selensky had a role, we see the face of a predator who buried bodies and kept secrets, but we do not yet see proof, and that matters. Because justice requires facts, not just suspicion. What we can do is remember Cindy. We can honor the missing by returning to their cases, shining light where darkness persists. We can support families who remain in limbo. We can challenge institutions to keep investigating, keep searching, keep hoping. Thank you for listening to Human Wreckage. I'm Thomas. If you found this episode meaningful, please subscribe, leave us a review, share it with someone who cares about missing persons. If you have tips or want to reach out, our contact details are in the show notes. Until next time, may we keep our eyes open, may we remember those who remain missing, and may we strive to turn wreckage into resolution.